Hey everybody, welcome to the Magic Weekly News Update for June 17th, 2018 on the Mana Leek. I'm Jonna as always, and there's only a small bit of news this week because it was really all M19 spoilers all the time, which, by the way, apparently, as I wondered, we are getting the full spoiler this Friday, along with the pre-release, which means I'll be starting set reviews this weekend. This is great news for me personally, as I planned vacation right in the middle of the usual set review period next weekend, so I actually don't have to record all those videos well. Also pretending to relax. Up first, GP Vegas had a bit of a problem. It ran really slowly. Apparently the wait time between round 2 and round 3 was nearly an hour, and despite starting on time that morning, round 3 started around 2 p.m. local time. That's at least a couple hours behind. Definitely not fun for those there, but CFB did step up and offer everyone a free entry to another 2018 Grand Prix of their choice. I've seen some people grumbling about people who didn't plan on going to another one, but come on, that's still pretty solid compensation. And sure, it sucks if you can't or won't use it, but you can't please absolutely everyone. I think refunds were also offered for people who chose to drop from the event instead of just play it out. In much more unfortunate news at GP Vegas, Wedge from the Manosaurus had a medical emergency this weekend. He'd been having some back issues that were believed to be a slipped disc prior to the event. After arriving to Vegas and being there for a day or so, he started to have more severe pain and woke up the next day unable to walk. MRIs and tests showed 2 herniated discs and immediate surgery was needed. He couldn't even travel back home to New York for it. Luckily, the surgery is done and was a success, and things seem to be going well, though it'll definitely be a pretty long road to recovery. Unfortunately, the US's healthcare system is not the best, and he's looking at about a $200,000 bill. A GoFundMe was set up by his family to help cover about $150,000 of those costs. The link will be in my notes below, or you can use the tiny URL, tinyurl.com/helpwedge. Nearly $50,000 has already been raised, which will be a huge help. The final news this week is really a non-story as far as I'm concerned, but as I always strive for, I want to dispel the rumors, speculation, blatant misinformation, etc. out there. Did you hear MTG Arena spies on you? It steals your bank account information, probably kicked your dog while you were sleeping, and also now controls the future of your life and 2 generations worth of your children. Or at least I think that's what I heard from, you know, my sister's brother's cat's friend. But no, Arena has a piece of software that it installs called Red Shell, a piece of software that many games use, by the way. It's not exclusive to Arena. Red Shell is, if you want to use an extremely broad term, spyware in very heavy quotations. It's spyware the same way that cookies are spyware. It's spyware the same way that your grocery store loyalty points card is spyware. What Red Shell does is it tracks if you saw an ad for Magic Arena, clicked that ad, and if you then made transactions in the game. It's a bit of software that tests if ads were successful or not. That's it. There's no personal information. There's no secrets. It's not going to tell your mom about the weird stuff that you look at on the internet. Now, I can slightly see where some confusion comes from because Red Shell was the name of a Trojan virus back in 2004 that did allow control of remote computers, etc. Just a flat-out Trojan horse virus. But this is a completely unrelated piece of software. Kind of bad choice on their part for choosing that name, but it's not even slightly the same thing. Anyways, that's it for news this week, so it's time to jump back into story time. The Magic 2019 story has already started, so we don't even get a break from the Dominaria story. So let's return to Tarkir and then jump way back in time. So on Tarkir, 18 years after the event of Fate Reforged, so over 1,000 years before the present Dominaria return to Ravnica time, twin sisters Neva and Baisha are climbing a mountainside of the Kalsisma Mountains. Neva is a hunter, practical, not at all mystical. Baisha is her opposite, a shaman, in secret since their clan's elder dragon Atarka has outlawed the use of magic. The pair are climbing the mountain because Baisha was called by voices with a message. During their climb, an avalanche happens, but with Baisha's magic, she barely keeps themselves alive, though the avalanche clearly has had a drastic impact on their clan's camp below. The twins, however, do see wind spirits passing by, and while Neva can't hear anything, Baisha does receive their message, but it's not a message for her. It's for their grandmother. The twins climb back down, heading towards the camp to see what damage was done. The camp was heavily damaged, and there are injuries aplenty, which the twins' grandmother is helping tend to. The twins bring back a net full of goblins who were killed by the avalanche to help feed Atarka, really the only reason the dragon even keeps the humans around. Baisha tells her grandmother that they were up on the mountain because of the wind spirits had a message for her. For her, Yasova Dragonclaw. The message is a full-fledged vision. The vision involves a great dragon between planes that creates a storm that drops eggs onto a plane that is not Tarkir, but we can strongly assume is ancient Dominaria. The eggs are actually curled-up dragons that uncurl before they hit the ground and are officially more or less born. First is Arcades Saboth, who names himself to take control of his own destiny. Next, Chromium Rule uncurls and names himself, followed by Palladia Moors. 2 more eggstones drop, but fail to open before impacting the ground. One impacts the peak of a mountain, creating a crater filled with heat and sulfur, perhaps creating a new volcano. 2 more smaller stones fall, and the dragons ignore them as more weak, useless ones. More eggstones fall in the distance, which Arcades flies off to investigate, not seeing the 6th eggstone unfurl and become Marevia Sal, who falls into a group of hunters whose meat she immediately demands. The hunters give her the meat, but quickly appear to turn on her. Finally, the final eggstone unfurls into 2 dragons, twins, one of whom is stuck under some fallen trees. "You're Nickel, aren't you?" says the other twin dragon. "Of course it's my name." "Quiet, Ugin," says Bolas, naming Ugin for the first time. Ugin attempts to help Bolas out from under the trees while the nearby hunters turn on Marevia Sal. Bolas wants to immediately help her while Ugin demands they keep quiet or else the hunters will kill them both as well. The hunters continue attacking Marevia as she tries to drive them into the forest. She's clearly killing numbers of them, but eventually, the smell of the death of a dragon rises from the trees. Bolas demands they avenge her, and after being freed from the trees, flies into a clearing. The hunter's dogs set on him quickly, but he quickly beheads one of them. Ugin demands they leave before the hunters come back, barely convincing Bolas to actually leave just before the hunters arrive. The twins perch on a nearby mountain, wondering where they came from, wondering what their sibling dragons are like, and Bolas is still ruminating on how easily he could have killed the dogs and the hunters. Bolas sets off to join his siblings to warn them about the hunters and to plan their revenge. Ugin doesn't move, however. His eyes are like crystals, and he says to Bolas, or simply towards Bolas, "Someone's looking for you, Yasova Dragonclaw. Come to me." Back on Tarkir, some broodmates of Artarka have come to the Temur camp, demanding to know why they smell magic being used. Yasova quickly appeals to their egos and lies to them about the nature of the avalanche, and offers them the dead goblins the twins retrieved. After placating the dragons, Yasova tells the twins to pack up their supplies. They need to go to Ugin, who Yasova saw killed by Bolas about 18 years ago, so they'll go to his grave and find out what the vision means. So that's going to wrap it up for the news this week for story time. Let me know what you think of the news. Were you at Vegas? What were the delays like? They didn't sound fun. Definitely go and check out that GoFundMe for Wedge, and let me know what you think of the story. The story was controversial, although as frequently, I'm not super into the controversy. I think it was kind of fine. I think a lot of the information we had about Nicol Bolas kind of comes from Nicol Bolas, and he's not necessarily the most reliable narrator about his own past, so I don't think there was that much retconning going on. But anyways, let me know what you think of the story and all that below. As always, if you have any questions, comments, or suggestions, you can find me on Twitter at TheManaLeek. That's L-E-E-K like the vegetable, not the card. You can also find me at Facebook.com/TheManaLeek, Twitch.tv/TheManaLeek, and Patreon.com/TheManaLeek. If you like the content, click that thumbs up button. Click subscribe if you want to see more. And if you do have questions, comments, or suggestions, let me know. Otherwise, see you all next time.